Yes, sir. We are live now. Sukanya ma'am, we can start, please.
Sure, sir.
Oh, yeah, welcome everyone, and then we can start.
Thank you, sir.
So, Sukanya ma'am, with permission from you, with permission
Sure,
from
sure.
Jitin sir,
Let's begin with the journey, please.
anything, any other thing?
Sir, annotations can be disabled.
Yes. And I'll time to time I will do them because I'll request everybody not to go for those annotations. Okay, so ma'am, shall we start?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay,
Please, sir.
okay, thank you. So good evening to Sukanya ma'am, good evening to Jitin sir of Goyal Brothers Prakashan, good evening to Diksha madam if she is with us, good evening to Prantik Bose sir, the sir is with us also. Good evening to all the respected, learned, eminent, prominent participants who are today present in this particular platform. And I welcome you to yet another session with Goyal Brothers Prakashan. Now, Goyal Brothers Prakashan is doing excellent work in the field of education. I personally know Goyal Brothers Prakashan ever since I started my career in the year 2000. And of course, that's how the bond has developed. Even I still remember during my school days also, if I can recollect faintly, I remember we used to study a geography book, which was also from Goyal Brothers Prakashan. So thanks for calling me over here and giving me an opportunity to discuss with you all something related to education. Now, before I go into the program, let me tell you that I am also a learner like you all are. I am not an expert, neither I have tremendous ideas, but whatever little bit of idea that I have gathered from various sources along with my experience, that I want to present in front of you. And that's how today will start. And this is our program today. Just a minute. Before we go, this beautiful quotation I got from somewhere, and I'd like to share it with you all. Teachers who love teaching teach children to love learning. Yes, I know from my experience, and I can say that all of the teachers who are present today with us over here, excuse me, just a minute. All the teachers who are present right now over here with us, they do love teaching. That's why they are in the profession for such a long period of time. And if they love teaching, automatically they will teach children how to love learning. No, they are like simultaneously related to one another. They are in a symbiotic combination, directly proportional to one another. And it happens every day, and it is happening, and it will happen in future too. No matter how much technology engrip us, this bond between the student and the teacher, that human touch will always remain over there. Okay, we'll move a little forward. Although Madam has given the title is something like this: planning, assessments, and drafting test items, ascertaining quality and quantity of learning. Teaching is a noble profession. I will rather call it as a vocation. It's a wonderful work. Those of us who are associated with it, we know it. And each and every step of our work needs a lot of dedication, a lot of sincerity, a lot of hard work. You just simply cannot relax once you have taken the tag of teacher. Teaching in the classroom is an art. Interacting with the students outside the classroom is also an art. And after completion of teaching, planning of assessment is also an art. And it is one of the toughest job of work. Because here we need to introspect and retrospect various ways and means in order to make sure that our children get an answerable question paper, a question paper that they will love to answer. That should be our main motive. And eventually, we will also get the idea about how much they have learned and what is the quality of their learning. So that is why assessments, tests, achievement tests, these are all essential. Definitely, we will be teaching the best possible way to make our children not only intelligent but intellectual. And we will also teach them in such a way so that they will retain whatever. But we also have to monitor them. We also have to come out with certain data at the end of a session to find out exactly where they are standing and where we are also standing. Before we enter directly into the program, I'll just tell you a small story. I cannot guarantee you the authenticity of the story, but in our educational world, it moves in this way. You know, when Albert Einstein was the head of the advanced physics department of Princeton University, US, when he was he was the registrar, he was the head of the department, although he hardly used to teach, but he used to look after all aspects of teaching learning over there. And this Princeton University, they had a tradition of not repeating the questions. Means whatever examination was conducted over there, whether it was a normal examination, whether it was a university-based examination, whatsoever it may be, the questions never used to get repeated. Always new questions, innovative questions, questions with different dimensions used to be asked. But in one particular examination, some questions were repeated. And when the questions were repeated, there was a huge hue and cry in the university. The students went directly to Einstein's office and said, "Sir, what is this? The tradition of Princeton University has been broken. It is destroyed. Some of the questions are repeated. Why it is so? What is your explanation?" So Einstein, as they say, was a man who always used to listen too much, and then slowly he used to start talking. So he said, yes, dearest, I know questions are repeated. Then the student said, then why so? Why it is like this? He said, the questions are repeated because the answers have changed. He said, yes, I know the questions are repeated, but the answers of those questions have changed. So that is what examination is all about. Sometimes the answers do change. And that is why I always give a lot of respect to this gentleman who said, Alvin Toffler, in my first program also we discussed a little bit about Alvin Toffler, who in his book in 1970 wrote the book Future Shock, where he said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read, write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Change is a way of life. 10 years ago, the way we used to make questions, basics are remaining same, but the pattern has changed. Now, with the involvement of NEP 2020, with the application of NEP 2020, more changes are arriving. They are coming. In my last program, I told you that the NCF for the foundation stage is ready. It is almost getting implemented in the schools across the country. The other stages, the secondary, the middle, the preparatory stage, and all those are coming. But the basics will remain almost same. And that is what we will discuss today. So what we will see today, we have to see this thing known as Bloom's taxonomy and revised Bloom's taxonomy. Without Bloom's taxonomy, we cannot move an inch with our education system. Whether it is classroom teaching, whether it is assessment, whether it is achievement test, whatever we do, wherever we do, inside the classroom, outside, we need Bloom's taxonomy. We need to know Bloom's taxonomy. I think many of you have know Bloom's taxonomy. You all know about revised Bloom's taxonomy, but still we will have once again Bloom, because until and unless we don't know Bloom's taxonomy, we cannot move forward with the rest of the part of the training program. Okay. We will see the different key stages of test developments, how to develop the tests and all. We will see also how to make a test blueprint, a planning, how to make a plan. Everything in the world goes on planning. No, without planning, we cannot do anything. We cannot do any serious work related with dedication, work related with sincerity without planning. And no matter whoever says what, that I don't mind, I don't think about planning, I am a happy-go-lucky guy, all these things are useless. When it comes to work, one needs to plan. We will also see how to the process of item writing. Let me tell you, this item is a technical word. Item actually means question. Item, we will see those technical words soon. Okay. Item means questions. Okay. We will also see how to assemble a test after we have written down all the questions, framed all the questions in different ways and means. We will also say how to assemble them, how to put them together and compile them. And we will also see that examination or an assessment doesn't end with the correction of the paper, with the evaluation of the paper. We also have to analyze. Okay, we also have to appraise the test and analyze the test. And you have to maintain a data for each and every test of what exactly happened. Okay, so that is something that we need to know also. So these are the subparts of the training that we will see today. So let us first see a little bit about a peep into Bloom's taxonomy and revise Bloom's taxonomy. A peep means a quick look. Okay, we'll not go too much in detail, but we must know the basics. So a peep at Bloom's taxonomy and a revised Bloom's taxonomy. Now, you know, respected teachers, in the year 1956, a Jewish American psychologist whose name was Benjamin S. Bloom. So Benjamin Bloom and his associates made a framework. Framework means a process. Okay, a suggestive methods. Okay, which classifies statements of what the teachers expects or wants the students to learn as a consequence of their instructions. So in 1956, Benjamin S. Bloom, a Jewish American psychologist, and his associates, they did a lot of research work and they made a framework. Okay, ideas, strategies. Okay, which classifies that what teachers expect or want students to learn as a consequence of their instructions. So when teachers teach, when they give instruction, what they exactly expect from their students. That's what Bloom actually wanted to talk about. And as we all know, taxonomy means a set of classification, principles or structures or domain or simply as categories. So what are the different categories of learning? In a more polished language, we are saying classification, principles or structure, and in a layman's language, we will say as categories. This theoretical account, okay, what theoretically is it? Account is generally classified under three broad areas. You know, there are three broad areas under which this theoretical account of our teaching learning process falls. The domains have three broad areas or domains. Okay, areas and domains, you know, the meaning is same. Further, it is subdivided into levels that run from simple to complex behaviors. So this part is a bit critical to understand. I will once again remind you or recapitulate it for you. In 1956, Benjamin Bloom and his associates made a framework. They came out with a conclusion about the teaching learning process that generally takes place in our classrooms. And he said that what our teachers expect the students to learn after their instructions. Now, this one, he calls it as a taxonomy. And taxonomy means what? A set of classification principles or simply categories. The categories of learning. This theoretical account, it is theoretically said all these things, is generally classified under three broad areas or domains. We'll talk about those three broad areas, and those broad areas were further divided into levels. And those levels started from simple to complex. The hierarchy went on from simple to complex behaviors. Okay. The three domains of learning. So what are those three domains of learning that is there? The first one is the cognitive domain. Knowledge-based domain consisting of it has 6 different layers. The cognitive domain, or it is known as the knowledge-based domain, or it is the domain that deals with the brain. You can see my pointer over here, the cognitive domain. It deals with the brain. We remember things, we keep our things, whatever knowledge, whatever ideas that we have, we try to put it in our brain. And we keep it over there in form of imprints, and those we retain them as long as we are in the process of living in this world. We retain them. That's why we say that the things that we learn in class 6 or 7 are still in our mind, because we have the cognitive domain, that particular knowledge-based area, work very, very hard in order to keep those things in our mind. Next is the affective. This is the attitudinal-based domain consisting of, again, it has also 5 areas. But before I describe this, I will talk about this, the third one, the psychomotor domain. skill-based domain consisting of 6 layers. It has again 6 layers. Skill-based domains means in our teaching learning process, the psychomotor domain deals with our hands. You can see that's why I have given this symbol of hands. You can see the pointer over there, hands, where we do the practical works like writing, drawing, doing practical works, making models using our hands. Okay, the nervous system along with the hands. That is why it is known as psychomotor. And the affective domain is the area when the heart comes into your. That is why it is called attitudinal based domain. It also consists of 5 layers. It is when the heart is applied. When we go away, when we move away from the stereotype learning process, simply learning and remembering, when we move away from that area and we do something different, we think something different, which absolutely not for common men. Only extraordinary people with a total feeling will go and work in this area. That is known as affective domain. So the 3 domains of learning, the cognitive domain, based on the brain, the affective, when the heart is working, when we think with the heart, we think, I remember, thinking with the heart, when we apply the heart over there, when our love, respect for that particular subject goes on increasing, and the psychomotor where we use our hands. Okay, a little more deeply I will tell you so that it will become more easy for you to understand. The cognitive domain, this is the largest portion of educational or this thing, just a minute, or teaching learning area. Okay, this is the largest proportion of educational or teaching learning teaching learning objectives and falls into the cognitive domain. Okay, it includes those objectives that deal with recall what you have studied. Okay, recognition, remembering also, you can say, of learned material and development of intellectual abilities and skills. So the largest proportion of teaching learning process is in the domain, in this cognitive domain, where we apply our thinking capacities and we try to retain whatever we study. Okay. And with this, our intellectual capabilities and abilities and skills also develop. The psychomotor, this is also known as cognitive domain. This area is concerned with physical activities. Physical, motor, or manipulation of skills, handwriting, practicals, drawing, illustrations, all that we do in the educational world is falling into the psychomotor domain. Sorry for that. Okay. And the affective domain. I have a very special softness for this area. You know, this area is concerned with the heart, extra feelings beyond the stereotype learnings. Okay, it is concerned with interests, attitudes, values, and the developments of appreciation and adequate adjustments. When you remove yourself from the normal living conditions and you put yourself to that area where you come out with something different, maybe for the first time you are bringing it into the educational world. Say, for example, the inventors, the discoverers, when they cross the threshold of learning, normal learning, and they come out with something different, the Nobel Prize winners, they cross all the thresholds of learning, and when they put their heart completely into a particular learning area and they bring out something new, which will be useful for mankind. That is what is the effective domain of learning. In classrooms also, respected teachers, you will always find there are 1 or 2 students whose thinking is completely different. And you appreciate, they turn out to be special students of the school. And in the last program, if you remember, in the first program, when we were discussing about NEP 2020, we discussed that these students with special ideas should be taken care in the schools where they apply this. Okay, so this is how the system goes on. Why I am talking about all these things? Because without this, we will not be able to make our question papers without knowing Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, fine. So if we see it in this way now, you see Bloom, the 6 parameters or the 6 categories which Bloom divided into the teaching learning process of, we are more concerned today with only the cognitive domain. Okay, we will not go into the affective domain and psychomotor domain because that is not the purpose of our today's program. So according to Benjamin Bloom, you can see this pyramid over here. He said that the maximum teaching takes place in this area known as knowledge. Children study and they Just get that knowledge. They recall, they recall, they arrange, they order, they repeat, they memorize the things, and they give the answers in that way. Among the entire group, a few will be there, okay, or a good number will be there who will be able to understand it in a deeper way. They will be able to comprehend this. Okay, so they will try to translate it, they will discuss it, they will restart it, they will express it in different ways, they will summarize in different, they will not go into that rote learning method. Okay, this is the second part. A good number of students go for that. Then then the next part comes is the application, where they operate, apply, and solve, and demonstrate and prepare things. Okay, they apply, they practice, they dramatize, they interpret, where more understanding takes place. Then the next one is analysis. Okay, students will try to analyze. They will try to break down the things. They will try to join the things. They will try to see whether whatever the teacher has taught, is it really correct or not? If there is something missing, they will try to criticize it. They will debate on the matter of the learning. And once this, after this comes synthesis. They will try to create something different, something new. We'll try to manage in a different way. We'll assemble, rearrange, develop the things of learning. And finally, they will go for evaluating. They will rate the study. They will try to predict how much is there, and so on and so forth. This is how the system goes on. Okay. Generally in our schools, we generally leave up to this area, knowledge, comprehension, and application, which are also known as the lower order thinking skills. And then we have the higher order thinking skills, analysis, synthesis. Okay, these are known as higher order thinking skills. When the learning is much more of an advanced state. So in a classroom, we generally, in a normal Indian classroom, generally we study within this area. We keep ourselves within this area. When you go to HOTS, when you apply our heart and all, it's limited to a certain extent. Okay, so this is what Benjamin Bloom said about the 6 categories of learning in a classroom. Okay, but as they say, change is the way of life. One particular thing cannot exist for a long period of time. Otherwise, it becomes stagnant. It becomes useless. So something was going on. The research work is going on. In the mid-90s, some changes were taking place. In mid-90s, some changes were taking place. Work is going on. Today also work is going on. Okay. So in 2001, a revised Bloom's taxonomy came out. In 2001, a revised Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy was revised because some of the nitty-gritties were removed. Some of the flaws which were found, which was there since 1956 to 2000 to 1991, 92, like that. Okay, those flaws, those what you call those corners which were not supposed to be there, they were identified. And in 2001, a revised Bloom's taxonomy came. Excuse me, just. So, these 3 gentlemen, Lauren Anderson, David Krathol, the pronunciation is Rathol, some call it as Krathol, some call it as Rathol, David Krathol and Paul Pintrich. They were all students of Benjamin Bloom. Now, they brought a change. And these 3 men, there were other also there. There was a gentleman called Cruikshank. There was a lady called Anita Harrow. They were all associated with this revision of Bloom's taxonomy. But these 3 gentlemen played a very, very vital role, especially Lauren Anderson, who was the leader of the group, followed by David Krathol, and Paul Pintrich, who was quite young at that time. He also played a very vital role in revising Bloom's taxonomy. So what was the revision? Let's see. In 2001, Lauren Anderson and his teams, they came out with a different idea. According to Lauren Anderson, classroom is an action-oriented place. It's an happening area. Quickly, respected teachers, we'll just go back to the first one. Just a minute. Excuse me, just give me 1 minute. Something is so right. If you look at these words, knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, these are actually nouns. These are nouns. And nouns means to a certain extent static words. Static words. Okay, they are just remaining in one place. So Lauren Anderson said that a classroom is an action-oriented area. Something is happening over here. It's not a static place. So he changed the 6 categories from noun to verb and placed it in front of the educational world, and the educational world accepted it and said, yes, what Lauren Anderson is saying is absolutely correct. So he also rearranged 2 categories to make the taxonomy more logical. What Benjamin Bloom said was okay, perfect, fine, but then, change is required. And Lauren Anderson and his colleagues and his friends or teammates, or as we call Lauren Anderson et al., Lauren Anderson and others, they said, no, some changes are needed. A classroom is an action-oriented area. It's not a static place. It's not that the teacher will go on giving the lecture and the students will listen and they will just mug and jug it. It's not like that. Here, ideas will be exchanged. Things will be different. And we have to be more practical towards it. So he changed the thing. And if you now see this pyramid, you will see this is the original taxonomy that Benjamin Bloom started. That is knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evolution. These are actually all nouns. And the revised taxonomy, according to according to Lauren Anderson, is that instead of knowledge, he said that let us call it as remembering. Because knowledge, when you talk about knowledge, knowledge is a word with a broad spectrum of information. When you talk about knowledge, we mean to say that we know everything in facts and figures about something. Like say today, if you tell me that, sir, what idea you have about Jitin sir, who is present today in our platform? Do you have any knowledge about him? I'll say, yes, I have complete knowledge about Jitin sir. In that case, I have to tell each and everything detail about Jitin sir. Who is Jitin sir, from where he belongs, what are his educational qualifications, what are the things he likes, what are the things he doesn't like, what is his achievement in life, what he wants to do in future in the world of education, what he wants to do in his own life, what are his personal matters, all these things. When I talk about, then it is knowledge. But if I say, I remember, if you ask me, sir, do you remember Jitin sir? I say, yes, I know Jitin sir. He's somebody working with Goyal Publications, and he's a person who is always a moderator in training programs and all. It's a good gentleman. So that is what I remember. So students actually, they remember in the initial stage of learning. So so he said, instead of calling it knowledge, let us make it more of a verb. It is more of an action-oriented. They remember. And comprehension was becoming something a bigger word, a more static. The next step of is understanding. A good number of students will understand it and they will try to reproduce it in their own language. Respected teachers, you will notice whenever you conduct any examination, some of the students give the answer exactly what you have given. And some of the students will give you an answer, not exactly in your words or the way you have explained, but in a different way, having the same material within it. That is what is understanding. Then he said, instead of application, it will be applying. More action work. Divide, separate, join, rejoin, analyze. Next one is analyze and evaluating. Before going for a creation, before doing something new, before coming with something new, the pros and the cons of that something new that will be dealt should be evaluated. The negatives should be removed, the weeds should be cut off. Otherwise, first, if we create something and then later, if we examine it and we say, no, this was not correct, that was not, then that will be a wastage of time. That is not a practical approach. So first you evaluate, first you find out what are the things to be removed, what are the things to be added, to make it, to garnish it in a better way to those new things that are coming in the world of education, in the learning process, and then come with something new, create with something new. So this is what the revised taxonomy. It is more action-oriented. It is more practical. And this should be exactly what it should be there. And the new taxonomy reflects a more active form of thinking, and it's perhaps more accurate. This is what the revised Bloom's taxonomy was. And nowadays, we are using it like anything in our classrooms. So respected teachers, let us see this once again. I will just show you and see. So what is that revised Bloom's taxonomy all about? The revised Bloom's taxonomy, remember, recall facts and the basic concepts. Well, over here, students will do what? They will define whatever definition you will do. They will duplicate whatever answers you. They may memorize a few things and they will repeat exactly what you have taught. But a good number of them, we will understand that they will explain the ideas and the concepts. Okay, they will identify them, they will locate them, and they will recognize them. Okay. The third part comes a little higher, when you go higher, then again the number of students will come less, or the learning will be in that way. Use information in new situation. Whatever you have taught, they will try to execute, implement, solve, and use, or demonstrate and interpret them in a new situation. They will apply whatever you have taught in a new situation to see whether it really works in that way or not. If it works, fine. They will have respect for the teacher. If it doesn't work, they will go on asking you questions till they are satisfied. And if this questioning goes inside the classroom, I will say it's a happening classroom. This is what Lorraine Anderson wants to say. Let it be a happening classroom. Let it be more action oriented. Let it be flowing with verbs all around, action words. This is what exactly is needed. And then, if you go a little up, then we'll try to draw connections among the ideas, differentiate them, try to organize, relate, compare, contrast, how one thing is related to another. How the liver, if you take biology in that sense, how the liver is related with the gallbladder, although they are they are near to each other. Okay, why they are related to, or how the portal vein is related to the liver. These types of studies will go on. Then justify the stand or decide. Evaluate means justify a stand. Appraise, argue, defend, judge, select, support. These are the verbs that are generally used in this particular area. When students will try to find out, they will argue whether this should be there or not. And then in this process, they will try to weed out. They will try to weed out the things which are not necessary. And finally, what will happen? Produce a new or original work. Design, assemble, construct, conjecture, develop, and come out with beautiful ideas. But then you will see in your classroom, these types of students are also there, but their numbers are quite few. We have maximum students over here. We give more, we do have to give maximum importance to over here. Everywhere we have to give, but for these people, we have to have something very special. Okay, this is how it goes on. This is a very simple way I'm explaining. You can go more deep into the matter. You can study more deep into the matter in a gist. I am telling you, because Bloom's taxonomy is something that needs a deeper understanding also. But once you understand it, then your entire classroom is in your hand. So again, this part is known as the loop. Just if you want, you can take a screenshot of this particular plate or this particular slide. It will be useful for you. You can keep it in your classroom for your own studies, to help the other teachers and students to study the two taxonomies. The original taxonomy, when the words, the different categories, which are actually nouns, the static ones, and then the verbs, the revised taxonomy, which is more reliable, more prominent, and more accurate. But that's what they say. Remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Request not to go for these annotations, please. So quickly, a look at what a teacher expects, from a students. Okay, just a minute. Remembering what I do expect the learner to know. In a very simple way, as a teacher, what I expect the learners to know. That falls in the category of remembering. And many questions we ask from this area. What do I expect a learner to know? Whatever I have taught, in a very simple way. Understanding, can learners interpret what they know? Many of them cannot interpret in their way. They will simply mug and jug and give the answer. But a good number of them can interpret. A good number of them can extrapolate. They can go deep into the matter and they can come out with the different ideas. That is what understanding. Applying, can learners see the relevance of this idea to that situation, this idea to that situation? Can they find anything new? That's what also is my way of knowing what my students have learned. Analyzing, can learners analyze elements in the subject field? Can they analyze relationship in the field? Can they analyze the organizational principles they have studied? This is when the analyzing will have breaking, joining, breaking, so on and so forth. Evaluating, can learners make judgment based on internal evidences? Whatever has been taught, can they really come out with some judgments? Can they come out with some unbiased forms? Can they find out if something is missing over there? Can they make judgment based on external evidence also? So internal evidence, external evidence, what is the, what are there in between the lines of the of learning? What is there outside that? Can they do something? This is a very tough job. It's not all the students cannot do it, but the gifted ones can go for that. And can the learners produce something new, something different? Can they produce unique communications in the field? Can they develop a plan to propose or set for operations? Can they drive a set of abstract relationships? Means, can they come out with something new? Can they give us? And you will find in the classroom there are always 2 or 3 students are always there who will always give you in a different way. They will make you understand things in a different way, and you are bound to appreciate them. That happens everywhere. Okay. Now, for the purpose of learning, for the purpose of our learning, for this particular, we will just restrict ourselves to the cognitive domain only, that I have already told you. Bloom's taxonomy of cognitive domain provides an excellent structure for preparing, designing, measuring, and assessing the effectiveness of instructions and learning. Yes, respected teachers, Bloom's taxonomy of cognitive domain, I'm talking about the cognitive domain, it provides an excellent structure for preparing our lesson plans, for designing our lesson plans, for measuring how much we will teach them, and also for assessing how much the students have learned, which is that about the effectiveness of the instructions that we have given to them and how much they have learned. So that is why it is important that in the initial stage of this program, we should know a little bit about Bloom's taxonomy. This structure also functions as a checklist by which a teacher can ensure that teaching is planned to deliver all the necessary developments for the students. Yes, respected teachers, what is our mission at the end of the day? For good learning. What is our mission? Good learning. They say no. Good teaching leads to better learning and best retaining. And that is what we are for. That is what our mission is for. And if we can achieve it, mission accomplished, mission is successful. So this framework is widely used across the globe in teaching, learning, and assessment activities. Which framework? Bloom's taxonomy is widely used across the globe. And till date, yesterday also you have used it in some way or other. Today also you have used it, and tomorrow also you will use it, respected teachers. We just cannot forget Benjamin Bloom or Lorraine Anderson. Okay. So knowingly or unknowingly, we are using Bloom's taxonomy and revised Bloom's taxonomy daily in our classrooms for teaching learning process. Without Bloom's taxonomy and revised Bloom's taxonomy, we simply cannot move an inch in our classroom. Yes, respected teachers, this is a fact and we have to acknowledge it, and we feel great to acknowledge it. We all feel very happy and satisfied to acknowledge that we are applying Bloom's taxonomy in our day-to-day teaching learning process. Achha. Before we move, we will learn some terms. These are the technical terms which are generally used when we are in the process of making assessment tests, conducting tests, making question papers and all. So these are some of the terms. These are which we should be familiar with. I think all of you are already familiar with these terms. For the new teachers who are new to the profession, okay, for them it is definitely very good. And for the experienced one, it will be just like revising them once again. So first of all, the technical word is blueprint. It is just like a planning, the various domains and areas that we have to think about in order to make the question paper. Competency-based assessment, the regular, now it is a very common, these are the common words. CBA, competition-based assessments or competition-based test or competition-based competency-based questions, you all are hearing it now and then, ever since NEP 2020 came into existence. These are what? These are assessments that are designed to measure generic knowledge and skills that are cross-curricular or that go beyond a particular school curriculum. Something which compels the students to think in a different way, not the stereotype learning, whatever is there in the book. Okay, that's why it is said It is designed to measure generic knowledge. That generic knowledge, the basic knowledge is there, and how the skills they are cross-curricular, maybe joined with one another, and maybe a little bit away from the particular school curriculum. That is what competency, which will compel the students to think in a different way. Constructed response item. What is this? This is also a technical term. A term for which a student constructs or generates a response to a question. Constructs or generates. Okay, he makes it answer. Contextual information. Data collected through questionnaires on a range of topics that are useful for the policy of understanding the test results and all. Yes, after conducting any type of examination, we go for a contextual information. We try to collect a data after conducting a test. Okay, either having a marks range or the type of answers that we are getting from the students to know exactly how the test was conducted. Curriculum-based assessments, that are based on the measuring the students' understanding on the given particular curriculum. Distractors, what are these? These are actually the incorrect options that are provided in the multiple choice items. We will be definitely saying multiple choice item. In the multiple choice item, generally there are 4 options. One is supposed to be the key, which is the correct answer. The rest are supposed to be distractors. Why they are called distractors? Because they are so close to the correct answer. No, they will distract the student's mind. They will compel them to think whether is this correct or that correct. No, and that is where deeper learning and understanding is required. That is why they are called as distractor. Domain means area. Content areas, the content categories, the subdomains, the areas which have been taught to the children. Okay, that part of the syllabus. Okay, item descriptors. Item means question, the description of what the item intends to measure, whether it is a short answer, long answer, to see the knowledge, to see the remembering part. When we will see that, I will discuss more about it. Items are the questions that are used in an assessment. Key is the correct or the acceptable answer in a multiple choice item. Marking scheme. Whenever we prepare a question paper, we have to prepare a marking scheme so that the scoring, how the scoring should be done. Multiple choice item or multiple choice questions. What do you say? MCI, sorry, excuse me for that, MCI or MCQ. Response format, the ways in which students need to respond to the items. Example, multiple choice question, close constructor. We'll see to all this in detail. STEM is actually that part of the question or that part of the multiple choice question where the problem is discussed. Okay. So STEM is the part of the item that contains the question or the type. Okay, it is that part of the item that contains the question or the type. Example, in a multiple choice term, the part that introduces the options and all those things. Okay. Stimulus material, the prompt or the context, the prompt or context on which one or more items are based on. Well, we ask questions, sometimes we, in a very simple way, we give some sort of hints or clues to make the students understand. That is something like in form of photographs, in form of some information, in form of a diagram, so on and so forth. So they are known as stimulus material. The prompt or context on which one or more items is based. For example, in a reading test, the stimulus is often a prose text made up of one or more paragraphs. So in mathematics test, the stimulus may be a diagram, or maybe like, you know, we draw the diagram of a triangle, and we say this measurement, that measurement. Or in say science, we draw a particular diagram in biology or chemistry, and we then try to ask the question. Same with physics and so on and so forth. So they are known as stimulus material. There's a technical term. Target population, the population for whom we are trying to make the question. Okay. And test developers, those responsible to produce test content, like you and me, we are known as test developers who are making, we are the teachers who are actually making the test contents, contributing to it, helping to interpret the data and all. So the person who is making the question paper, the person who is helping to correct the questions, answer sheets, the person who is trying to make the data, all of these people taken together in a common group, they are known as test developers. So these are the technical terms which many of you know. For the new teachers, if by chance, if you don't know, then it's good for you to know. And for the learned people who are already there for a long period of time, it is good to revise them. Now, HS assessment test. What are these? What is the need? Assessment and evaluation, you know, they play a very, very important role in teaching learning process. Teachers should be concerned about students. What? Why we conduct tests? Why we conduct assessment? First, to see whether they are learning regularly or not. In a country like ours, it is very, very important. You know, because after you complete one particular term, you take a test and you sit for the parent-teachers meeting on the result day. The parents will only ask you 2 questions. Kitna number mila hai bacche ko? क्या रेगुलर पढ़ाई लिखाई करता है या नहीं करता है? आप बताओ मैडम जी, आप बताओ सर जी, और हमको कुछ नहीं सुनना. दिस अ वेरी वेरी कॉमन डायलॉग फ्रॉम द पेरेंट्स, फ्रॉम द इंडियन पेरेंट्स. It also helps us to diagnose their weakness, children's weakness and inadequacies. What is wrong with their learning? If there is some weakness over there, if there is some deficiency over there, that also helps us. It also helps us to see how they are improving and how improvement in the learning happens. We continuously go on taking test after test, test after test. The very purpose is what? To see how much they have learned, how much this learning is taking place within the child. And that is also a purpose for us to conduct tests. And above all, one of the important instruments for measuring of the above mentioned bullet points are tests. So in order to mention all these, measure all these bullet points, we do conduct tests, which is essential in a country like ours. This is the definition. This is exact definition of achievement test or assessment test. Both are same words. Okay. Achievement test is a device that helps in ascertaining the quality and quantity of learning. In the beginning, I discussed about it. To find out what is the quality and how much the students have learning. Attained in a subject of study after a period of instruction by measuring the presentability of the concerned individual. Or in a simple way, in schools, we have terms, no? Term 1, term 2. Term 1, final term. Mid-term, final term. First term, second term, third term. Like that, so on and so on. Different schools have made them according to their ways and means. So what we do, we teach the students, we deliver all the instruction for a certain period of time. And after that, we conduct tests to see how much they have learned. And the present day and how much they can retain. It's as simple as that. Although a lot of hi-fi words are being used, but in a very simple way, an achievement test or an assessment test is a device that helps us to find out the quality and quantity of learning. When you talk about quality, is the way they answer, the way they score marks, that shows the quality, and quantity, how much they have answered of the paper. Suppose if it is a question of 100 marks and the student has only been able to answer, say, 20 marks question, 80 marks he has left, means his quantity of learning was very poor, and obviously quality is definitely poor. But sometimes we also find that a student has answered maybe not 100% of the paper, maybe 75% of the paper, maybe 80% of the paper, but the way the answers are given, each and every answer crosses all the thresholds of goodness. Then we will say the quality of learning by the students is excellent. Maybe he has not achieved that much of quantity of learning, but whatever he has studied solid. There is no flaws, no gaps here and there. That is the purpose of understanding this or conducting this test. Assessment and evaluation play a very important role in teaching learning process. Teachers should be concerned about learning regularly, diagnose their weakness, and all these things. Okay. So that is just repeated. Sorry. I'm going a different way. Excuse me. Now, objectives of achievement test. What is the objective? That was the purpose. Now the objective. To realize the degree of understanding, comprehension, and higher skills achieved by the students. So realize how much they have understood it, how much they can comprehend it, understanding and comprehending it, and how much higher skills they have achieved. Through their answers, we can only know. To identify the areas of difficulty of the students, once again, what are the missing points? And it also provides a feedback to the teachers about their teaching methods. Yes. We should not only be concerned with it, we should be concerned with the students' learning, understand, but we should be also equally concerned for how much we are delivering to the students. Are we being able to deliver exactly what is required? Is my teaching perfect? From the results only I can understand. If out of 40 students in my class, 35 students have come out with 75 plus, means, okay, my principal will tell me that, yes, Mr. Sen, your class is performing well, your teaching is okay. But if it happens the opposite way, 75% don't answer properly and only 25%, that means there is something wrong with my teaching methods, my strategies. I have to change them and I have to do immediate change. So definitely the tests are also, these achievement tests or assessment tests are also instruments which will diagnose the quality of the teacher's teaching quality. And this is very important. It is needed to find out exactly where we are as teachers standing. Because when we take to teaching, in the beginning, I told you, it's not everybody's cup of tea. We are the people who are trying to save lives. We are the save and save lives. We are the ones who are creating human beings with knowledge, with idea, with intellectual quality. So we don't have the rights to play with them. That's why we will leave no stone unturned on earth to make sure that our students get the best and the very best. That's our motto. The types of assessment tests. There are different types of assessment. There are two common types. There are two types of achievement or assessment test. One is known as a standardized test, and the other is known as a teacher-made test. One is called standardized test, and the other is called teacher-made test. Now, according to Lee J. Conway, another iconic personality in the world of education, people say that he's the person who came out with all these types of standardized tests and all. Okay, and that's why he gets a lot of curse from students across the world. A standardized test is one in which the procedures, apparatus, and scoring are fixed, and the same test can be given at same time at different places. Experts, via a long drawn process, prepare them and their reliability and validity is ensured. Example, the board exams. Now, a board exam is a standardized test. The paper is same. The question paper, maybe the sets are different, but the pattern, the measurement of the question paper, the weightage of the paper, the intelligentsia weightage of the paper all remain same, and they are same for each and every part of the country, whether it is used in Kashmir or in Kanyakumari or in Ahmedabad or somewhere in Nagaland, which means. And a group of experts prepare this, and their reliability and vitality is very much ensured. Maybe one or two of you from this particular group of teachers that we have, around 965 of you are there. Maybe 65 of you people are also involved in this process of preparing question papers. You never know. CBSE always takes questions from different schools, and then a panel of experts sit over there. So your question may be also one of the questions for the board examinations. So board exams are the standardized test. What about teacher-made tests? Excuse me. Something is running very fast. Just give me a little bit time. Some adjustment is needed over here. There is something called teacher-made test. Okay. Teacher-made tests are the tests which are made by teachers themselves, right? And they are like the weekly test that we conduct in our schools, weekly test or monthly test, or say the terminal test, or say the Saturday test or Monday test that we generally have. These tests are actually, those types of tests where we just focus on a particular area of our teaching learning process. Say we have taught a particular area of this particular subject, a particular subpart of it, and we want to conduct a test on it, and we want to find out how much the student have learned from there. So this is actually a teacher-made test. Same happens in a broader way for the terminal test, or say for the periodic test that we consider. And these tests, so very, very, very important for the children, because that gives us a continuous feedback whether the teaching learning process is going on in the right way. So teacher-made tests are equally important as a standardized test. Steps involved in assessment. What are the steps that we should do? Now we are coming right how to prepare the question paper. Okay. Likelihood of preparing valid, reliable, and a useful classroom test is greatly enhanced if a series of steps are followed. Okay. If we just follow a few steps, and I'll tell you, respected teachers, preparing a question paper is a completely scientific process. And we teachers, all the 974 teachers who are present right now in the platform are capable enough to make question papers by their own self. They don't have to depend on some reference book or some what you called some question papers available in the market. Some people come out who are not that much involved in the educational world, and say that we are with the question. Our teachers are capable of making question papers and the very best question papers with lot of innovations. Okay, so first you have to determine the purpose of the test. Why you are conducting the test? Definitely test the knowledge, but to also find out how much the students are, and what is that test for, whether it's a whether it's a periodic test, whether it's a Saturday test, Monday test. Then you have to develop the test specifications. What type of questions you will ask? Short question, long question, multiple choice question. You have to prepare a blueprint. Whenever we make a question paper, we have to make a blueprint. It's essential because that is the planning. And then you select the appropriate item type. Difficult questions, easy questions, mediocre questions, so on and so forth. So this is the first step of preparing question paper. Designing of achievement test, or how you will design, creating quality items, how will you design the achievement test, or how will you design the question paper or the assessment test. Creating quality items and test is a challenging factor. I will tell you, it's a challenging one. It's not again everybody's cup of tea. Okay. Intensive resources, intensive is an intensive process, but is crucial is if the test is to provide a valid and reliable information on student achievement. See, in the schools also you will find we always have a group of people who are responsible for this particular work. That's why we have these departmental heads. Why? Because they are the people whom we believe have more resources within their own selves, and they are the ones who can help in making the test perfect, because we have to make a test which will be valid and which will be reliable. A good test focuses on what the students know, understand, and can do. Yes, a good test focuses on what, and the teachers have this insight and foresight within themselves, and they know exactly how to measure their students, what they have taught, and how much their students will be able to give. That is why a good test focuses on what the students know, understand, and can do, and measure only what it intends to measure. And a good test will only measure that much what the test intends to measure. If you want to see how much achievement so you know exactly what to do. That is why the teachers, the test developers, they have special insight and foresight, which is not everybody's cup of tea. There's a training program called Smart Teachers Make Smart Schools. If you ever get a chance, we will go for that also, where a total discussion is made on this particular area of measurement of students' ability and all these things. It should be equitable to all students. It should be equal to all students, and is free from any bias or gender ethnicity. Yes, sometimes there is a feeling among teachers, among schools in the areas that, okay, this question paper is not for the boys. It is for the girls because it's a soft paper. This question paper is not for the girls. It is for the boys. It's more difficult. These types of gender biasness should never be there. All are equal. As far as learning is concerned, once upon a time, people used to think that biology is a subject for the girls and mathematics is a subject for the boys. What all sorts of stupid and irrational thinking. It can never be like that. Rajashree Prandarshri has raised the hand. Madam, we'll discuss about it because we are running short of time. We'll have to have a little more discussion. So I will answer at the end of the day, once you whatever questions you have. Okay, keep them with you, keep them ready with you. Whatever is there, we will clarify. So that is why it should be a complete equitable paper. It should be gender bias. There should not be any form of biasness. Unbiased question paper, whether it is of gender, ethnicity, or student background, and they do not relate to any aspect of, or they do not relate to any aspect of learning in focus. So whatever learning is there, that should be there. There should not be anything other than the learning, nothing else. Characteristics of a good test provides a fair and a balanced of all of the aspects of learning in focus. Whatever the students have learned, we are focusing, it should give a fair chance for them to assess all those learning points. Should contain items covering a wide range of difficulties. There should be difficult items, there should be easy items, there should be mediocre items. It should include concepts that are central to the aspects of learning in focus. The question paper that you are making, your question should focus. Your question should focus. सिंह सर एक सेशन में है, थोड़ा देर में बात करते हैं, ठीक है? एक सेशन में है सर, थोड़ा देर में बात करते हैं. includes concepts that are central to the aspect of learning in focus. Whatever that student has learned, the question paper should be based on that area. It should not go beyond that and making things for the students. Remember, during the exam time, your student is not sitting over there to guess the question. Your student is sitting over there to give the answers. And that's why you have to make a question. If you need specific answers, you have to give specific questions. Students should not beat around the bush and think and spend a lot of time in thinking what the question is all about. No, will not be allowed. A good question will never have these things. Avoid giving any advantage or disadvantage in any group of students on the basis of gender and ethnicity that we have done. And is interesting to the test takers. Students should find the question paper interesting so that they will love to give the answers. And this is what students need, so that at the end of the day, when they will come out of the examination hall, they will tell you, madam, what a paper it was, fantastic. Sir, what a paper it was. I just wrote 100% of the paper. If you can hear these types of words, means your 50% of your work is done. You are successful in it. They say that understanding a question is half an answer. Yes, that is why a question should be so beautifully made. It should be so comprehensive, student friendly, that by reading the question, the student will get half the answer. That's what Socrates has said once. Items or questions. What are the different types of items or questions? There are two major types of items or responses. Okay, one is called selected responses. Students need to choose an answer from a set of two or more options like MCQ or MCI, true and false, match the following. These are selected response. The answer is already there. They have to select the best one. And the other one is known as constructed, where they make it. Like we construct buildings and all. So students need to supply their responses like short answers, long answers, or essay type answers. These are known as constructed answers. Okay, or constructed response. So two types of responses we have. Selected responses, where the answer is already there in front of the student in form of options. They have to find out the best option out of that. And the second, they have to write the answers. They will get the freedom to write the answers according to their ways and means. Okay. Now, close constructed, there are, when we go to the constructed responses, something is called close constructed response. Okay. Close constructed response items require very short response of just one or two words or a numeric one. They are called closed. This close constructed means the one-word answers that we generally ask to the students, where there has to be only one answer. There cannot be a second answer or second opinion, as there is only one acceptable response or a limited range of responses. This we have to teach the students because in the board examinations, often we have seen that for a one-word answer, students write 20 words. That means the student has not studied properly, or the student has not been told properly by the school teachers about how to give an answer. For example, if we ask, what is the capital of India? There is only one response to it. It is close. It is New Delhi. It is not Delhi. It is not Indraprastha. It is not Dwaraka, so on and so forth. That is the answer. Or if we ask a question like, how many bones are there in an adult human being? There is only one answer to it. That is a closed response, 206. If you ask the question, how many bones are there in a human being, which represents both the children as well as the adults, then definitely the answer may be different. Some may write 206, some may write 200, something like that. But when you are asking a specific, it has to be only one. That is why questions should be very, very specific. How many bones are there in an adult human being? Or say, what are the contents of the nucleus of an atom as far as a class 10 standard question is concerned? The nucleus of an atom contains neutrons and protons. That is the closed answer. So we have very close constructed response where when you have to prepare this thing, respected teachers, your questions should be very, very specific and make sure that within that range they write. Now, in these types, so when you make these types of questions, now we compel the students to study deep in that. They just cannot write anything they feel like. That is why these types of responses are there. Corporate questions are made. There is always a scientific reason behind each and every type of question. It's not that for the look of making the question paper, we make it in that way. There is a reason for making a one-word question. There's a reason for making a 5-word question. There's a reason for making a 150-word question also. to see the various aspects of learning. In the beginning, we saw the various domains of learning will be covered over here. Short open type items. Okay. Short open response items. Okay. These are open. Previously, it was closed. Within that, now a little bit of freedom we are giving to the constructed. These are all constructed ones. Okay. Long answer type answers. Short open response items request students to generate or construct their own answers, and a wide range of correct responses are acceptable. Like short explanations, mathematical expressions, drawings, diagrams, analysis, or evaluation. And the space of the paper is also given in that. And adequate time must be provided to the students to write these types of answers. It are mostly used to assess the basic level of knowledge and understanding. Why we ask these types of, so that they know the basics, because the basics are very important. That's why these short answers are there, where we ask them to draw a diagram, or maybe a diagram is there, we ask them to level that diagram, or maybe we ask them to come with a mathematical expression of, okay, about speed, time in physics, okay, or say we ask them about how in geography, we ask them how time measurement is done, so on and so forth. So these are like open, short but open responses. Example, say, differentiate between the distance and displacement. This is where the students' basic idea about distance, displacement, about measurement will be there, and they will give us a clear-cut answer. This is a short question. It doesn't need too many words to write it. Or why human circulation is called double circulation. The answer can be like, human circulation is called double circulation because inside the human body, the blood circulates twice. Once from heart to lungs and another from lungs to various parts of the body. Well, it can go like that. Or draw a well-leveled diagram of the various types of soils found in the country. So these are the short questions where openness is there. We will give them opportunity to discuss and describe also. Now, another new thing that has come for the last few years from CBSE is that students also have the option of to answer them in bullet points. If they don't want to make them in like sentences and all, they can use bullet points also, but the construction should be there. Okay, it's not like a choice, multiple choice question. And finally, the essay type, the big ones. Essay type items are designed to elicit a response, one or more paragraphs from the students. When we ask for that, these teachers can write highly challenging items. We can make very challenging items, questions that ask students to analyze, compare, draw complex conclusions, or evaluate in a written form. And all these things will now be applied when NEP 2020 will be applied for the higher sections of the schools. Is answer to essay type items require the basic response format, like they have to write an introductory section or aims or outcomes of that. They have to give a summary of the various points that they want to discuss. They have to generate a result, why they came to that conclusion, and what are the upcoming actions or all these things. Say, for example, a question is over there. Explain the circumstances that help middle class bring social and economic changes in France in the 18th century. Now, you can understand this by reading this question, how much the students have to answer. These are long answers where there should be an introductory part, or there can be that aim of the answer is this. Okay, the summary, they have to write in detail what the middle class did, how they joined hands with another, how they went against the system, what results are coming out from that, and they will give a conclusion finally. For different tests. I mean, this is the basic way. Of course, you have the freedom to ask the question in a much more easier way, also in a student-friendly way. How to make short answer type items or questions? The guidelines, these are the quick guidelines you will see. It will take a little time today because this one is another 20 minutes, I think you will require. Make sure that the learning is done in the best possible way. Take care of the linguistic level of the students. Focus exactly what has been taught. Okay, second, the linguistic level. You should ask the question into that level of language by which the students understand. Now, maybe you are a very qualified person. Your vocabulary is enormous, but a class 10 student's vocabulary may not be like you. So you have the freedom to use words which the child doesn't understand. So the linguistic level of the student should be maintained. Make sure that the items are free from any unintentional clues. Please don't try to give any unintentional clues within the question. Otherwise, the value of learning will go down. Make sure that the item has one clearly correct answer. Make sure that the item clearly specify how the has to answer them. That also you have to write in the question itself, either in form of examples or in form of diagrams or whatever it may be. Structure the item so that the item is as short as possible. Don't make the question too long. If you need a 5-word answer and if you write a question of 20 words, then it's of no use. You will be termed as a teacher who has not raised up to the level. Like in my first, when I first started my, first time I made my question paper for one particular test in school when I first joined, and I made it so difficult that the student did not pass. And my principal called me and told me that if you make this type of a teacher, no matter how good teacher you are, how brilliant teacher you are, how great teacher you are, if your students don't pass and they don't understand, you are nothing at all. So I keep those words are like gospels to me, and I still keep them with me. Avoid copying text directly from the textbook. Please, for God's sake, don't do it. Use your creativity. Respected teachers, you are creative enough to go for all these things. Okay, use your creativity. Don't go for any type of direct textbook copying. That is not a very good process. In fact, I hate it like anything. Create marking key and apply it consistently. The marking keys, how for which particular point, how much should be given, that marking keys, because maybe that paper can be evaluated by somebody else also. So that we also have to keep it in mind. Okay, this is very important. How to write essay type answers or long answers. How the children will write. You have to tell them how you will write the question and how they will give the answers. Write the item in simple, clear, and direct language. Make sure that it is what is required in the task. Okay, whatever is required in the task, make sure that is present over there. Don't be too much, making it lengthy and all these things. Carefully consider the duration of time. If you want a 150-word answer, make sure that the students spend 5 to 7 minutes on it. Okay, the essay item, and make it very clear to the students. Before conducting any type of test, respected teachers, I think you people are also doing this in your school, that 1 or 2 classes before any examination, you give an explanation on how to answer the questions. How one-word answer, how multiple word answers, how multiple choice questions to be answered. I think you are doing it. In my school, I do it. Teachers take 1 or 2 classes for that once the syllabus is complete and everything. Make sure marking rubrics are well made in advance. Yes, the rubrics that you prepare, and also the statistics. Always maintain the linguistic level of the students. This is very important. If we don't, then we will not be able to make a very good question. Multiple choice questions. Please pay attention over here. I request all the respected teachers, because this is something I think many of the teachers have left. Maybe they have some other work or whatever it is. Okay, but learning should continue. Multiple choice questions or MCQs, how they will write. A multiple choice question consists of a lead sentence. It has a lead sentence. It's like a platform that will allow you to enter into the train or something like that. A lead sentence, then it will have a stimulus, may not have a stimulus, in order to give some advantage to the student to give the answer. Then the question or the stem will be there, and finally the distractors and the keys will be there. The lead sentence directs students to use the stimulus or provides related information about the stimulus. It leads the students to the stimulus or gives some information about stimulus. Okay, stimulus means some information in form of diagram or whatever it is, or maybe just a normal sentence that will be a platform that will help the student to find out the answer clearly. Stimulus, excuse me, is the information required to answer the item, whatever information is given. Stem is the text that states the question or the problem, which is clearly aligned to the learning outcome. Whatever you want to, whatever you have taught, the question will be from that area, and that gives them. And key is it refers to the correct alternative. Also, we have distractors, which are incorrect, or maybe to a certain extent seems to be correct, very close to the correct answer. And sometimes we give rationales to give justifications of why this answer is correct and why that is not correct. Okay. We have a example of a MCQ question. A bus driver is driving a bus. His name is Ray, and he's driving a bus in a particular direction. Okay, and there is a cup of water resting on the dashboard. On each dashboard, there's a cup of water. And one of the stimulus is given, the figure of the glass is given. There are 2 points mentioned, 1 and 2, and in which direction the bus is traveling. Then it is saying suddenly Ray applies brakes. Now the question is, what is most likely to happen to the water in the glass? What is most likely? This is the question. What is most likely to happen to the water in the glass? So water will, water will stay horizontal, or the water will spill over side 1, or water will spill over side 2, or the water will not at all spill, but it will remain like that. Now, answer 1 is a distracted, is not a correct answer. Answer 2 is a distracted. Answer C, the water will spill to side, because this is about that inertia of motion. If suddenly the brakes are applied, then we tend to fall on the direction on which the vehicle is moving. So the water will also fall in that direction. If we just look over here, see, this is point 2 and the bus is going in this particular direction. So if the brakes are applied, the water will fall in this direction. So that is the key. This is how we are supposed to make MCQ question. There will be a lead sentence, there will be stimulus material, then the stem, and of course the distractors and the key. Guidelines, how to make good MCQs: align items to learning outcomes. Everything that you will be preparing, that should be within the learning outcome. Whatever you have taught and whatever knowledge they should give. An item should assess an important contents. The item should not have any irrelevant and irrational things with it. Okay. Items should be written in unambiguous, simple, and clear language. It should follow the grammatical consistent. Very important, grammar. Many of us think that grammar is not essential while making a question. No, it's absolutely wrong. We should be, when we are making something perfect, it should be perfect in each and every ways and means. Items should be constructed so that question is located in the stem itself. Items should rarely be framed into negative. Don't try to give any negative answers or negative type of question, because when we start teaching something positive, why it is there. Maybe if it at all required in certain cases, you can go for that. Otherwise, try to avoid it. Items should have no repetitions in options. Yes, 2 same type of answers should never be there. Items should have only 1 correct and best answer. Yes, that should be our motto. MCQs are back with a bang for the last few years. They have become an essential part of our teaching learning process. In assessment test, we just cannot conduct an assessment or an achievement test without MCQs. And by making MCQs, by compelling students, they will study more deeply. MCQ is not just like giving tick, tick, tick and finish it off. It's not like that. It needs a lot of understanding, a lot of learning. Students have to learn, and that will help us to measure how much they have studied, which is our main goal and main purpose of all these things. Options should be phrased in such a way that there are no opposites. Don't try to give any opposite negative answers. Options should be pulsable, maybe very close or similar to the context. Suppose if you are asking a question on, say, chemical bonding, and if one of the options is related to James Bond, that British spy, that's not a good answer. That's not a good thing to do. No. Suppose, what is bond energy processed by bonds? Okay. Now, if you say the energy processed by James Bond is bond energy, that's absolutely true. These types of questions should be. Okay. Or suppose if you are asking a question on, say on the on a particular measurement of mathematics, and there if you use hydrogen, nitrogen as options, then it's of no good use. So that's we have to be within the context. Absolute terms such as always, all, never, only, none of them, try to avoid them as much as possible. Phrases such as all of the above, none of these should be sparingly used. We will try to use them as less as possible. Sometimes we may use that all of the above, none of the above are as the correct options, but try to give those options as less as possible. Make the answers much near to the question, okay, so that students will be compelled to study, because that is what we are looking for. If we make 1 correct answer and 3 all of the above, none of the above, either this or that, means they will immediately get the answer. And from measuring quality, the quality of learning will never be understood by us. That has to be kept in mind, respected teachers, and make sure that the answers don't overlap with each other, and vary the position of the key. The correct answer in a set of, say, 20 questions, if you give, sometimes in order to make our correction process very easy, what we do, we give the same option as the correct answer. A, all the A's are correct. And students are very, very cunning. They are very intelligent. If once they know the sequence of 2 or 3 answers, they will immediately understand what are the rest. And They will give the answer, they will score marks. That's the very purpose for which we are conducting the test, to measure how much they have studied, to measure their difficulty levels, to measure how much they have not understanding, or to diagnose their weakness will never come into limelight. That is why it is very essential that we make the paper in such a way so that we can measure their understanding level. Preparation of a blueprint. Once you have decided everything about the test, how to make the test, now the time comes for the planning, and you have to prepare the blueprint. The test blueprint is a critical document that is somewhere that has a structure that of the assessment, determines how the test to be designed and developed. For any type of test, even if you are conducting a 10-mark test also, please prepare a small blueprint with it for your own self. The test blueprint provides a tabulated list of the following information of the test, because that test blueprint has to be with the school, has to be with your principal. Your principal may not always see all the, but from the blueprint, the principal will understand what type of paper you are making. The departmental head will understand. So, which states the topics, subtopics of the curriculum that you are using for testing. Okay. Which cognitive processes, Bloom's taxonomy, various cognitive processes that will be discussed and assessed in the test. What will be the item format? What type of items you will ask? What will be the length of the test? How many the test in terms of items, item-wise, time allocation? How many questions you will ask? How much time you will get? And what will be the difficulty level of the items? That also will be mentioned, because that will give a comprehensive, complete idea to your principal, who will understand what you are conducting the test, or to your departmental. This blueprint, before you go for the test, before you start preparing the question paper, you have to hand it over to your departmental head, who will eventually hand it over to principal, and that will be kept as a record for future work. I will give you the structure of a blueprint. A blueprint looks something like this, you can see these columns and the rows. Okay, so first of all, you see this here, see my pointer, content areas. What is the main topic that you want? What is the subtopic? Then what are the different levels of Bloom's taxonomy you are applying, the cognitive levels? Level 1, like remembering, understanding, analyzing, creating, so on and so forth. What type of, the question that you will be asking, whether it will be easy question, how many easy questions you are asking, mediocre type questions, difficult level questions, and what type of items, the format of that is short answers, okay, constructive response type 1, okay, constructive response type 2, that essay type answers, total number of items, how many you will give, how much time you are giving. So this way, horizontally and vertically, you will write down them and you will go for the blueprint. This is the structure, okay. And a more comprehensive structure of the blueprint is like this. When this is like a tentative layout of the blueprint. When you prepare it, you have to name the class, the subject, the assessment for which you are conducting, and the main topics, subtopics, then Bloom's taxonomy level 1, level 2, level 3, then short answers, constructed long answers, the same thing, okay, whichever I have just not told you, but this is in a more comprehensive. This is actually will go. That one, other one, you can keep it with you, but this is the one that you will keep for yourself. Okay, this one will go to your principal or to your departmental head, and it will be kept as a record. Records are to be maintained by the schools, because when we are analyzing the students, when we are growing, developing the schools, we need all these types of documents. And the SCOA is coming, when these types of documents will be required, where you have to analyze your school. Okay. School quality assessment and achievement will, that analysis will go on, where you need these types of documents. Now, this is just one, the question paper that generally comes in a board examination. If you see the syllabus of CBSE, this chemistry question, okay, let us take the example of a chemistry question paper of 11 and 12 of 23-24 session. And you see the first one, remembering and this is the level of Bloom's taxonomy level 1, remembering and understanding. Okay, so from here we have 28 marks, 40% of the question will come from this area. That's why, see, the bottom level is that much important. Why we discuss the Bloom's taxonomy, knowing and why that area, because that is the area where maximum students study. They remember, most of the students fall into this category of remembering and understanding. A good number of them will be able to understand the difficulty levels. But our idea is to make sure that major portion of the questions should be from this area. So exhibit memory of the previously learned material by recalling facts, terms, basic concepts, answers, demonstrate understanding facts that we ask them to write the definitions, the interpretations, and so on and so forth. So 40% of a question paper is made from this area. Then applying solve problems to new situations by applying acquired knowledge and all. The next part, a more difficult level, when we go to the HOTS level, and analyzing, evaluating, and creating. This is what we call the higher level, when we go for that competitive-based questions, or what you call as competency-based questions, where difficult questions are asked, very, very difficult, and 30% of the paper is like this. So this part is 40, 30, that is 60. So 100% of the paper is like this, analyzing, evaluating, and creating, examine, break information into parts by identifying the causes, reasons, and give all types of. So all the chapters are taken into consideration. Whenever all the chapters will be taken into consideration, the different levels of understanding of the students will be taken into consideration, and on the basis of that, we will make the question paper so that each and every child should be able to answer. See, most of the children will be able to answer of this area, and many of them will be able to answer from the, even the child who has only studied this area, to a certain extent, he or she can be able to answer these areas also. And that's how the teaching learning process goes on. It's a tough one. It needs a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work. Test developers are not ordinary people. That's why you all are teachers. You all are great people. You are doing great work for the nation. And the only prize that you will get at the end of the day is that if your students come out of the examination and they touch your feet and they say, "Madam, what a paper it was, sir, what a paper it was." That is our only prize that we get. Once everything is done, okay, after the test items are ready, assemble the test items properly, set them in a proper way, review the items once again with a fellow colleague, arrange the test items according to the different criteria, and provide the proper instruction to the examiners before the examination starts. Because if they don't know the rules and regulations, then it will become very difficult for them to understand the questions. And also, they are not supposed to waste time by guessing the question. They should immediately understand that this question is asking me from this particular area. Then after the test is completed, appraise the test. Analyze the items. Item does its job effect. The question that you have asked, when the answers are given by the student, you will definitely get the idea whether the question that you have, was it done in an effect, that has the question given the response in an effective way? The level of difficulty and discriminatory levels have been taught, and how much power the students are achieved by giving the test. So these are the post correction. Once the result is given, then the analysis is done. And each and every school sits with the teachers, the principal, the head of the department. They sit and they have a meeting and they tell what is the analysis of their question papers. And if this is done, then the progress of the school could be taken into consideration very seriously. And that is why the schools grow and develop. Our schools are not those schools where we just, for the heck of taking an examination, we take it to make sure that the children pass. No, we will take an examination, we will conduct it, and we will see that learning continues over there. The learning must continue. Thank you very much, respected teachers, for being with me. This is a bit long session, 1.5 hours almost. Some parts were very boring, but it contains a lot of information. If you can at least keep a few of these ideas with you, I'm sure you are able to make an excellent question paper. And that is what we are supposed to do. At different levels, at different situations, we will make different types of questions. We will use our creativity, our knowledge, our resource, and we will come out with the best so that our students turn out to be the best. Thank you so much. My contact number is there.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. It's a bit long session, but learning is like
We
this.
are glad, sir. Glad. It's
Learning
full
is
of
like this. When we
knowledge,
are in
and
the
I
process of
think,
learning, we have to do.
yes, sir, definitely. So I have shared the attendance form with all of you. And once again, I would like to share that we will be giving you the certification, but after the completion of all the webinars. So the last webinar will be on 20th of November. And that day we will share all the certifications for all of the webinars with you all.
Well, respected teachers, if you have any questions, you are most welcome to answer, and I'll try my best. And your suggestions are very important. Please do suggest how we can improve this training program. With your experience, you give your suggestions, and I take each and every suggestion very seriously. I just gave you my email ID also. How to help the weak students? Madam, to help the weak student is that you have to go repeatedly, you have to give some extra time, you have to sit with them, you have to come out with your heart, and they have to go on repeating, and writing. Writing is more important. Simply reading from the book will not do. In this case, they have to write The more they will write, the more those writings will get imprinted into the brain and they will remember it for a long period of time. I remember during our school days, we used to write answers once, twice, thrice, because I was a person who could not memorize too much. So those who cannot memorize, those who find it difficult, please make them write. And the habit of writing is to. I was unable to mark my. Okay, you will be able to mark your. Thank you, madam. Thank you, Lata, madam. Thank you very much. Thank you, Marlini, madam. But writing has to go on, madam. We just cannot ignore that process. Yes, we may talk about time and all, but we have to focus on sane students. Sane students. I don't understand that, ma'am. Thank you, Namita, ma'am. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Prabjit Kaur, ma'am. Thank you, Sarika, madam. Thank you very much. Oh, Bloom's taxonomy was important. The question paper making was a bit boring. No, I can understand it. I can understand it because lot of things are there. Yes, but then we have to study it. Okay, if we follow it in a very scientific manner, ma'am, I'll tell you, it's very easy to make question papers. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rama Devi, madam. Rupali ma'am, thank you so much. Ramoni Bhadru ma'am, thank you very much. Sandhya madam is there. Sonia Pathak madam has raised her hand. Yes, Sonia ma'am, you want to ask something, ma'am, please. Sonia Pathak ma'am has raised her hand. Sukanya ma'am, if she can be unmuted, I think she has raised her hand. She wants to ask something. Mini madam wants to ask something. Yes, Sonia ma'am, you want to ask something? Sonia Pathak ma'am. Prabha Raman madam also wants to ask something. Prabha madam was that day also, she was present. Yes, Prabha ma'am, please. Sir, madam, see if Prabha ma'am can be on. Ma'am, you unmute yourself. Prabha ma'am,
Yes.
I think you can unmute.
Yeah, I have unmuted.
Yes, Prabha ma'am, please. Again, you have muted yourself, ma'am. You again unmute, ma'am. You again unmute.
Okay, sir.
Ma'am.
I am Mini Kaushal. Can I?
Yes, ma'am. Sure. Definitely.
Yes,
ma'am.
good
Ma'am,
evening,
please.
sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Evening, sir. Many this side from Atamdev Kiniketan, Ludhiana. So I am
Ludhiana.
attending third session of you, sir, and I congratulate to you and also the full team of this wonderful class, and awaiting for more webinar like this. So, sir, you are telling us the guidelines or writing about MCQs.
Right.
But, sir, I have a question. How
Yes,
many
please,
marks should the MCQ or optional paper carrying in the exam? Is the 40 marks of MCQ good for students?
Actually, madam, see, MCQ is something that will compel the students to study deeply into the subject. Okay. What we want to see through the MCQs, whether they are not superficially, they should not study. If superficially they study, then they will never get that knowledge and we will not be able to measure how much they have studied. That is why the board has taken this initiative so that they will go deep into the matter and they will study. It is not easy for students to give the correct answer until unless they don't study deeply. This is the main purpose. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mini ma'am. Thank you. Yes, Prabha ma'am, we are waiting for you, ma'am.
Yeah,
Please.
so actually, when we are in the process of dealing with the subjects in detail to the best science with experiments, trips, etc., we lag around with the syllabus. Then what
Yes,
should
this
we
is
do?
the common problem. I do understand. Yes, ma'am. Whenever
We are
we
not.
have to do something, the strongest barrier that come in front of us is the syllabus. So what
Yeah.
to do with this?
Yeah.
We cannot ignore the syllabus, ma'am. We cannot. So that's why we need a prior planning. Maybe little extra time. We have to divide the syllabus in such a way that it should be like daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis. We have to calculate. If you see, CBSE also makes when CBSE gives the syllabus for class 9 and 10, okay, they make it a point that, okay, for this particular topic, 20 lectures should be there for that topic. So we teachers have to use our experience, our insights and foresights by going through the syllabus, by going through the book and understand how much they will be there in the syllabus and how many classes, how many lectures are needed. If we do that planning well in advance, then I think some of the hurdles can be overcome. I know this is a big issue. It comes time and again, but then, you are such a great teacher, you are such an innovative person, you can easily do it and make things very simple and easy for all. Sonia madam. Sonia madam has raised her hand for a long period of time. If Sonia Pathak madam can be given a chance.
Yes, sir.
Prabha
Hello.
ma'am, are you satisfied with whatever I said? We cannot hear Prabha ma'am. Somebody else wants to say. Yes, please.
Sir.
Prabha ma'am, you can unmute yourself if you want to say something else. Sonia
Hello?
Pathak ma'am. Yes.
Hello,
please.
sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you hear
I
me,
can
sir?
hear you. Please. Yes.
Sir, very good evening, sir. It was a really
Good evening, ma'am. Good
nice
evening.
session to have you with you. I'm myself Sonia Pathak. I'm a PGT Biology in Gorakhnath, Gorakhpur JP Education Academy.
You're a biology teacher?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my subject. I am also
Sir,
a biology, ma'am.
thank you,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am,
Sir,
please.
sometime nowadays, the problem I am seeking through inside the student that somewhere they are distracted from the studies.
Yes,
It's
I do
very
agree with you.
difficult for us to
Yes.
engage them inside the class within the 40 minutes of the span.
Yes, ma'am, it is very true. Especially after this COVID, the mindset of the students have changed to a great extent. And it becomes, sometimes they become very distracting in the classrooms. It becomes very difficult to make them focus in the classroom. Classroom management becomes very difficult. But then, madam, I will tell you, such a great
Yes,
teacher
sir.
you are, such an experienced, your own personality, your way of taking to the students, your way of talking to the students, your way of demonstrating in the classrooms will definitely bring back that attention. You go all out with your own ideas, okay, and they will listen to you. You are such
Thank you
your
so
teacher,
much,
you are a
sir.
teacher who is having that much personality. By seeing you, I can understand. And ma'am, you can do wonders in the classroom. Okay, just a little bit of confidence you also have to develop and see how the students will run behind you. Come out with some innovative ideas, answer their queries, whatever, even if they seems to be stupid to you, give them their answers, and you will see you will do wonders in the classroom, I'll tell you.
Thank
Yes,
you so much, sir. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
We have Srivani madam. Yes, Srivani madam wants to say something. Yes, Srivani ma'am, please. Srivani ma'am. Srivani ma'am, you want to say something? Prabha ma'am, if you can unmute yourself. Prabha ma'am is not unmuted. That's why we are not able to hear Prabha ma'am clearly. Prabha ma'am, if you can unmute and tell us whatever you want to say, please share your ideas. You are such an experienced teacher.
Okay, sir, how do we motivate students to interrupt?
How do you motivate to you interact with the students? You come closer to the students. Try to understand their feelings. Try to know what they want from you. Talk nicely to them. Don't get angry with them. Love them. Of course, don't show the love too much to them. Love them. Feel for them, and they will automatically interact with you. Okay. Start saying, yes, dear, what is your problem? What you want to know? Can I help you out? Okay. And you will find students. Sometimes
in a class of say 20 children, hardly one or two keep asking questions. The rest are simply sitting dumb,
Yes, it is because the class doesn't become a dialogue class. It becomes a monologue class. If the teacher only says everything and the students keep quiet, then it has to be a dialogue class. Asking questions, cracking a joke a little bit here and there related to the subject. Sometimes inculcating a little bit of moral values with the subject itself. All these things will compel the students to come out with their questions. And once that happens, questions being asked, okay, and you give their answers, it becomes a wonderful classroom.
It should be more of an interactive session, right?
Yes, it should be more of an interactive session. Yes, if it becomes it should not be a monologue class. Okay. Otherwise, that same story, blah 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 blah. Finished off.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank you
ma'am.
so much.
Thank you so much, Prabha
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you.
Yes. Shivani ma'am wants to ask something. Yes, Shivani ma'am. You want to ask something, ma'am? For a long time, I can see you are making movement. Okay, okay. Thank you. Anybody else is there to ask for any questions? Such a wonderful interactive session. So many things we learn from each other. That is what learning is all about. E. Raja. Evalurani Raja. I think Raja sir, Rajkumar. Rajkumar sir, yes. Rajkumar sir, please come out with your queries, sir. Let us share and discuss. You please unmute yourself and tell us. Rajkumar sir. Rajkumar sir wants to ask something. Somebody, Zoom user. I can see, I cannot understand. Mamta Singh madam has come. She has raised her hand. You are unable to unmute. Sukanya ma'am, are you there? Are you there? Sukanya
Yes,
ma'am.
so let me just check, please.
Please see if Rajkumar sir can be unmuted.
Good evening, sir.
Very good evening. Yes.
Good evening, sir. I am working in Indian School Ibra in Oman.
Oh, you are in Oman. My goodness.
Yes.
International.
Yes.
Oh, great. Yes,
Yes, sir.
please.
My name is E.L. Varuni Rajkumar. Okay. Rajkumar is my husband's name.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving me the chance. Actually, we have special education needed children in our classes. Along with the normal students, 1 or 2 students,
Right.
special students are there,
Right,
sir.
right.
So whenever we conduct the class test, how to test them? At present, we are giving the same question paper for the class test also.
Yes.
And is there any other possible ways to test
Yes,
them,
I'll
sir?
tell you one thing. See, ma'am, as far as NEP 22 is concerned, okay, they are saying that question paper should be equal for all the students, irrespective of whatever is their level of understanding or the difficulty levels they have, or whatever is there, how much they are specially able. The thing is that you give a little extra time to them. Okay. Say, for example, those who have a little bit of psychological problems, for them, maybe you have to make a little more easy question compared to the normal ones. But those who have physical deformities, for them, their understanding capacity is perfect. Okay. So in that case, you make the same type of question, but you can give a little extra time to them. That is what CBSE has clearly mentioned. That is what NCRT has clearly mentioned. And in the NEP 2020, we also have that the specially able children should be given a little extra time, but the standard of question paper should not vary too much until and unless if there is some psychological problem with them, where the level of understanding is less. For that case, you can make a question a bit easy for them to understand. Otherwise, for the normal ones, you can go for that. I know it's a very challenging job. It's a very challenging job to make an inclusive question paper for all. But then, no, we have to come up. You can go for that. That provision you have, that freedom you have. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
And it's nice that you are from Oman. I also dream to go and give a training program in Oman if I ever get a chance to go to the Middle East. I love to be
Yes,
there.
sir. Please, sir. Welcome, sir.
Definitely, if I get a chance, I'll definitely go there.
Yes, sir. Please, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, it's a very good session, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very
Thank you for the
informative.
compliments.
Thank you so much.
These
sir.
words
Thank
from you all only give me the impetus to go forward. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, so I think almost all the queries are now answered. And Shukanya ma'am, if you give me permission, then can I leave the platform now?
Yes, sir. Please. Thank you so much, Sujit sir, once again for the very informative session. I think everyone has.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, we have a question once again from Puchpalata madam was asking. I know some students are always blank in the class. They don't understand it. But then, then that interaction of the teacher, the love of the teacher, the involvement of the teacher will only bring results out of them. Otherwise, there is no other way out over there. There's no special formula for them. Question paper special should be given as the normal